Oh, baby! It's a triple! Hello there, and welcome back to War Thunder, to the first impressions on the new Chinese QN506 light tank, rank 6, battle rating 9.7, and this is the reward, the tank reward for the kind of still ongoing repair factory crafting event of the 2023 April Fool's event. And the question is if this is worth it. Well, it is certainly the most unique thing because the plane, as Stefan said it's a plane, so not really impressive. The Russian cruiser is also something we have already kind of a lot of them in the tech tree, not really blessed with unique abilities. But the QN506 has first of its kind fire and forget missiles for a tank. We already have, I think, Spike in the game, but they are on a helicopter, and that's a different story. So first of its kind. Now let's have a quick look into the Chinese tech tree and see if this is a potential talisman candidate, because it's not a premium tank. It is a reward tank, so it will be stock. And the repair costs are currently at 5,500 silver lines, and it has a lot of other premium tanks that it has to rival with. The ZT-Z96AP, T69 2G, WMA301, and the T62 number 545, and obviously the Object 122 MT-MC as a squadron activity reward. Battle rating 9.7, so it doesn't really have a dedicated lineup, but you could integrate it into some higher tier lineup. For example, with the premium ZT-Z96AP and the tech tree variant, the ZT-Z96A, together with some other stuff. So I have seen videos from some other YouTubers, and they said, yeah, it's not a good vehicle, it's bad, yada yada yada. And they're not really that wrong. The thing is, you do not have to see this as an actual combat unit, but as a tech demonstrator. It's first of its kind. We will see fire and forget missiles in the future, where they have more of them. They are faster, more capable, better tracking system, and also the hull being then potentially better, or most likely. Because this is, for all intents and purposes, I think a T55 hull or a T69 hull, Type 69 hull, and then there is another 30mm box welded on top of this, and on top of that then you see the turret with all the modern stuff, the optics, the tracking, the missiles, the gun. So now let's talk about the hull. Is there armor? Yes. How survivable is this? Well, kind of yes, if you only stick the turret out, because all the 3 crew members are at the very front. This is obviously great if you can go hull down, but then you only have 5 degrees of gun depression to work with. And the middle of the tank is is empty, so you can take hits to the turret, but not so much to the missile systems, because then they blow up, you lose almost all of your ammunition, you need to repair, the reload in the cap takes forever. The mobility of the tank is also not that great. Horsepower to ton ratio for this 30-ton tank is 16.77, so 16.8. That's not really that great at this battle rating, but it's not extremely slow, and you are equipped with tracks instead of tires, so you can go to muddy places, maybe just a little bit better than wheeled vehicles. So as said, this is a tech demonstrator, so it has a little bit of anti-tank capabilities, especially versus stuff that is not really very well protected, lightly protected, such as let's just say BMP2 and the Wolfpack, etc. You can work them over with your gun. You have backup laser guided missiles, 20 of them. They are relatively fast. You can manually guide them in, and they only have 200mm of penetration, but versus those units, that's mostly enough. Again, then we only have 4 of the big missiles to come to the 151mm QN502 CDD. and they have 1,000 millimeters of penetration coming from a tandem warhead. So they go through stuff. They are really capable, and they are the fire and forget missiles. You only have 4 of them. You do not have a reload in a tank. The reload in a cap takes a while, but it's okay. What really takes a long time is the reload for the 20-70mm QN201DD missiles. Okay, back to the big QN502CDD, the fire and forget missile. You are equipped with an IRST system. The guidance on those missiles is an IR system, and the lock range is 20 kilometers. But they have a missile guidance time of only 65 seconds, and that is a problem because they go only at 205 meters per second. That's roughly 5 seconds for a kilometer. For 10 kilometers, that's roughly 50 seconds. So that is a lot of time for the enemy to see the missile coming. While they cannot flare it, while they cannot really avoid it, they still can duck into cover, or, which is even worse, your team can shoot down the target that you shot the missile at. Or also when the enemy team comes in hot like a plane, it can easily do evasive actions and just dodge the missile, and then it self-destroys. But there is one really funky stuff that I have discovered well, not I have discovered it, but somebody else, and I saw a clip on, I think, Reddit or somewhere. Somebody flew his drone in the vicinity of the enemies which were behind hard cover. He locked on to his own drone, let the missile fly for a couple of seconds before when it then was high enough to go over cover, and then suicided his drone into the target, and the missile targeting switched from the destroyed drone to the actually intended target and destroyed it. What a crazy shot, and that is definitely possible with this missile. Sadly, you only have one drone, and it's absolutely difficult to time it right, but I actually haven't tried it myself because it's such a crazy thing, and to get into this scenario, it takes a while. So then let's talk about the gun. Before we talk further about the fire and forget missiles, you have basically a 30mm ZPZ-02 cannon with 200 rounds of ammunition. Those are two 100 round belts. You can equip only one APDS FS belt with 102mm of penetration. It's the same ammunition as on the BMP-2M, for example. And you have a muzzle velocity of 1,190 meters per second. It's great versus lightly protected targets, and as a backup you can use the 30mm APDS rounds, which have 85mm of penetration and go at almost the same speed, only 10 meters per second less, but less penetration, less reliable. You also can lock onto enemy planes and can try to shoot them down, but here you can see how long the reload takes. And now I emptied the clip, and this is a great scene because I was about to reload the 20 missiles while I'm not reloading the big fire and forget missiles, because you completely have to empty the launcher. And now I emptied the belt, so it reloads the belt instead of the 20 missiles. Look at that reload time. That's crazy. So it takes what it feels like 2 minutes. It's absolutely awful, right? And so you should not spam them too much. Here we have a Gepard, and we engage him and we destroy him easily. I should have aimed better with the laser rangefinder. You also have a great laser warning receiver, which is absolutely worth the money. You have smoke launchers that provide you with a couple of puffs, and you also have a scout drone that I mentioned, an artillery strike, so you have the full light tank equipment, what is basically on an old medium tank hull. so you can see why people struggle. It takes forever to get into position. You're not a frontline unit. You're a support unit that sometimes needs support itself. So you're more like a third row unit. When it works, it's fantastic. The kills are really worth it, but you're hampering, especially in the opening stages of a match, your team. You deprive them of one actual tank. And very often I came into the scenario where I thought to myself, my god, if I only have a normal tank gun, you know, a normal L7 or something like this, I would have been much better off. And also, yes, you have to stop to fire the missiles. You cannot launch them on the move. Not the normal 200mm pen ones, and nor the 1000mm pen fire and forget ones. You always must stop. Now there is another thing, and that is with the lock on. A helicopter, not really a big problem. You lock it on, you fire the missile, point the launcher upwards so it doesn't really dip into the ground, and you know, some time later you hear the pling, the helicopter's down, you've done your job. Here I try to manually guide the missile in. The IRST system isn't really cooperating all too well. So that's a bit of a problem. And so I then still managed to get the kill. Because if you lock onto an enemy tank, that was a satisfying kill. If you lock onto an enemy tank, in order to actually pull that off, he needs to expose 80-90% of the full silhouette. And then you can launch the missile. If then the tank gets back into cover and the missile is high enough from your line of sight, it still can drop onto the tank. Watch this. So there is a top-down missile coming in. I'm dead by the M3A3. He tries to get back into cover, but the problem is, here you can see I actually got the kill on this. So this is basically, you saw it in the kill compilation. It's tricky, but when it works, it's satisfying. I expect much more capable systems like this coming in future patches in. There you could see that the small missile was just not enough to kill here the enemy, sadly. Let's just quickly summarize it at the end. It's first of its kind. I expect much more capable systems to arrive soon. I think that this is down to your personal preferences. If you hate it or if you love it, it's definitely not for everybody. It's definitely not suited for every situation. And yet I think it is a cool thing to have. I don't think it's really worth as much as a high tier bundle. But at the end of the day, again, it's down to you. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Why not give it a like if you did, subscribe if you want to see more. Let me know in the comment section what your experiences fighting alongside it and against it are, and if you consider getting it if you do not already have it. That's it for me today, so we'll see each other on the waves, in the skies, and on the battlefields of War Thunder.